From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting. Originating from the Kern County Administrative Center, located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue in Bakersfield, California. Grounded in ideas, energy, and innovation, Kern County's vision is to be a driving force for the world's fifth largest economy, and our mission is to exceed expectations of the communities we serve, changing the way they feel about government, those who manage it, and the services it provides. Today's Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily. Okay, we're ready whenever you are.
Good morning. Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Peters?
Here.
Supervisor Parlier?
Here.
Supervisor Flores?
Here.
Supervisor Couch?
Here.
Supervisor Perez?
Here.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, January 27th, 9 a.m. meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. We'll begin today's meeting with a flag salute led by a member of Kern County's own health benefits team, U.S. Air Force Senior Airman Michelle Madrid. Good morning. Michelle was born and raised in Bakersfield, California. She moved around frequently as a child and had a tough upbringing due to addiction and homelessness. But through Michelle's hard work, love, and support from close family and friends, she managed to graduate high school, allowing her the opportunity to enlist in the United States Air Force. In 2003, she completed boot camp and tech school in San Antonio, Texas, then was stationed at Maxwell Air Force Base with the 42nd Security Forces Squadron. Michelle was a military police officer with various assignments, including patrolman, armorer, and serving on details for the U.S. Air Force Chief Master Sergeant of the U.S. Air Force, as well as former POTUS George W. Bush. Michelle was deployed twice, first to Camp Bucca, Iraq in 2005, where she worked as a prison guard alongside service members from all services, as well as allies from across the globe.
Oh, yeah.
Then to Qatar in 2006, where she worked entry control, ensuring there were no explosives or contraband entering unauthorized. After her honorable discharge in 2007, she continued with her education through college. This has allowed her to form a solid foundation for her family and career in healthcare. She currently holds a position with Kern County Health Benefits as a health plan service specialist, where she assists members with information regarding their county health benefits, alongside the amazing health benefits and human resource team. Michelle is the awesome mother of 3 sweet boys. She spends her free time chasing them around, going to hockey games and parks, as well as traveling and trying new foods. Michelle, thank you so much for being here today. It's truly an honor. And I would invite all of you to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again, Michelle.
Great story.
Thanks. Okay, next, unfortunately, Director of Animal Services Nick Cullen couldn't be here today, but he has asked me to introduce his even better looking animal service representative, who is now accepting applications for a forever home. This is Mike, a 2-year-old Chihuahua mix. Looks, fashionable little guy. Looks like I don't know if he's ready for the ranch or the recliner with that outfit on, but if you think you'd be a good candidate, and he's looking for a forever home, so please reach out, and hopefully Mike can go home with his new family soon. Okay, we're going to begin by considering the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA above the items are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the public wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda, and it will be considered in listed sequence, with an opportunity for members of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. Members of the public may also comment on any closed session items. At this time, I'll read the consent agenda item numbers, and they include items 1 through 6, as well as item 9 on page 2, items 10 through 17 on page 3, 19 through 25 on page 4, items 26 through 32 on page 5, and lastly, items 33 and 37 on page 6. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak regarding the consent agenda? Please come down to the podium.
Hi, sorry, Robert Hooks. Is the county charter proposal on the consent agenda? I thought it was 18.
Yeah, that'll be item 18. That'll be considered later. That's not a part of the consent.
Okay, so there'll be opportunity to speak then?
Yes, there will be.
Okay, I'll wait for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, seeing no other comment, I'll bring it back to the board for any discussion or motion.
Motion on consent.
Second.
Thank you. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. The board will now consider item number 7, which is public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda, but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask questions for clarification, make referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Also, the board may take action to direct staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Please state and spell your name before making your presentation. And just a reminder that the charter issue will be on following this item. That's its own separate item. So this is about items not on this agenda at this time, if there's any speakers.
Charles Shin, S-H-I-N-N. Concerned citizen, Mr. Chair and board members, I just want to express some thanks and some gratitude for a harmonious, working, productive relationship that you've had with members of the public, and it's very much appreciated. Looking forward to a productive 26 for Kern County, for the citizens, and for a great board. Thank you.
Amen to that. Thank you, sir.
Love you, Shan.
Good morning, board. Good to see you, staff. Thank you for all that you do. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm sorry. I withdraw.
No problem. Thank you. Any other members of the public?
Thank you. My name's Sam Hardman. I live in Tehachapi, and what I'm here for has to do with, excuse me, what's going on in Minnesota with the ice raids and the like. My request to y'all is to develop a policy for our sheriff department and our other first responders to be able to position themselves in such a way as to, one, like there's a line of people in the sheriff's department, one facing ice, one facing your public, one facing ice, one facing the public, alternating. That way their body cameras can capture the scene that's going on with ice. And it will help with an investigation that may happen on either side if something goes wrong. And it also puts the sheriff's department in a position of being neutral. When they go to a scene and they have their backs to ice and they face the public, it's like they're siding with ice and they're creating a conflict. This puts them in a neutral position, and it's a positive solution. It allows a thorough investigation, and hopefully if everything goes good, fine. But if something goes wrong, they can capture the moments of what went wrong. They can secure the scene so that an investigation can be done properly, because currently under the current administration, you can't believe what they're saying and they're trying to cover it up. So this way, it's impartial. It's just plain evidence. Here it is. Let's look at it. And if you could do it, if your staff, I'd appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Are there any other members of the public that would like to comment?
Hi, Marissa Fols
Good morning.
from Tehachapi. I actually wanted to just have us take a moment to send our thoughts and prayers to all the people who are on the 58 right now. There's a multiple truck and car pileup that just happened like within the last half hour. So I just wanted us to take a moment to just think about them and to know that they're in our purse.
I'm sorry, were you asking us to take a moment of silence right now? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Parlier?
I'm really glad that you brought this up. I was going to mention as soon as public statements were done, you're right, it sounds like a horrific accident at 58 and Tower Line Road. Those that are from Tehachapi in this audience, please utilize safety, going home. Our prayers, and in this case, I'm going to speak for my colleagues. I think all of us, regardless of who's in that accident or accidents, our hearts go out to them, and we hope everyone is well. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. Our next speaker, please.
I apologize for being late. Good morning,
worries.
everybody. I'm Mary Helen Barrow, more commonly known as the Mexican Yenta. I'm here to lend my voice to concerns about ICE behavior in Kern County and our country and throughout the world. One of the reasons I was late, I'm bringing you a copy from the National Catholic Reporter, Cardinal Tobin, said to pray more and say no to ICE funding. And I would like to give you this copy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here in Kern County, I've been over 45 years. We're pretty conservative around here. And when I first got here, and I still am proud to say that for most of my life, I was a Ronald Reagan Republican. Ron, and he used to take me horseback riding out at the ranch, and his daughter Maureen was one of my best friends until she languished from cancer. I'm not a Republican these days. I'm too embarrassed. Some Republican leaders are not making us proud or doing the Republican Party proud. They're going after innocent people, and it's a political thing because they haven't got the guts enough to stand up to that wannabe dictator in the White House. And I'm asking you here in Kern County, we have a couple of ICE facilities here. Got some more paperwork for you.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but we're already at about 20 seconds over. If you could bring your comments to a close, I would appreciate it.
I will. I just want more humane treatment at the ICE facilities. We have the largest ICE detention center in the state of California here in Kern County. We've got 3 of them, one at California City, Mesa Verde here in Bakersfield, and another one in McFarland. And I'm asking you as a board to please double check them because I've gone to some of them, especially Mesa Verde. The conditions are terrible, and the inmates there, the prisoners, have gone on hunger strikes
Okay.
because of
Ma'am,
the poor
I
conditions.
appreciate it, but we're going to have to move on to our next speaker, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just please look into them, okay? Please check into the conditions and make sure they're getting medical care. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Board. I'd like to appreciate each one of you for working with us and helping things to move along smoothly within our county. And with that, I would like you to encourage, maybe put a public statement out. There would be less trouble on the streets if we would comply with law enforcement. The more you engage with law enforcement to stop them from doing the job, the worse things get, because then they have to protect themselves as well as do their jobs. ICE wouldn't be out there if we didn't have a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next speaker, please.
My name is Julie Solis, S-O-L-I-S. I stand before you this morning because it's disgusting and despicable that you guys have unlimited money to give for little crappy things and favors for people, but you guys don't have the funds to go out and check on the ICE detention camps. They're treating people like dogs in Kern County, and you guys don't even care. I wouldn't expect you to care, David Couch, you KKK. You don't care about any of us. We are people that deserve to be treated humanely. You people don't even care. Jeff, remember your father. Remember them fighting for the UFW before you guys switched up. Remember that before you guys turned into white supremacists. You're brown, Jeff. Remember your color.
Okay.
Treating your people like dogs.
You're incorrect.
It's disgusting, Leticia.
You're incorrect, but
You do nothing for our people. People talk about we should comply with law enforcement. Donnie Youngblood trains his officers to kill because it's cheaper. And you guys keep giving him more money. Shame on all of you. I hope that one day your kids will grow up to redeem themselves, not be people like Jeff, who are disgraceful to our raza. Shame on you.
shame on you. Qué vergüenza tú.
I can say what I want.
Are there any other speakers?
Hi, my name is Johnny Olagas. This is my first time speaking. Hello, everybody. I'm here about the Kern County initiative. I was just reading about it, I read about it online. Are you guys, I have a few questions actually. Are you guys going to be hosting events or basically giving more information on that? The charter, something like that? I can't remember. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
We'll be talking about the charter after this item.
So the other thing was, what is going to be done about the local police? I agree with the previous speaker, actually. I think it's very unprofessional to have people that are, and I'm sorry to say this, but racist in certain, for lack of a better word. The other day I was on Facebook and I ran into Donnie Youngblood making some comments that were pretty ignorant. It sounds to me like the Second Amendment, according to local PD, only applies to those on the right. I am very independent, but it does appear that there is a divide, and I do believe that you guys should try to bring everything together. And just a heads up, I might run for District 3, Jeff Flores, and I'm doing it because it seems like there's no accountability and no transparency. I mean, you have Kathy Scrivener, doing what she did, right? You have Zach Scrivener, your old colleague, I'm assuming, and there's zero accountability. Just because you're in a position of power does not mean you are untouchable. It shouldn't be that way. And if this is what we have, then this sucks. This really sucks. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
My name is Mercy Pena. P-E-N-A is my last name. First of all, I just wanted to, I am a concerned citizen, but I wanted to, first of all, start our new year in a better note. I wanted to first say, I wanted to, show my appreciation for your ability to inspire and set higher standards, regardless of what these people come in here and disregard your efforts. And foster a collaboration and a positive feedback. And I also wanted to just mention something to you, Ms. Leticia Perez. Because of you, my girls are doing very well in school and learning to speak up for themselves and seeing that you can control this boardroom very well. And I would like to also invite you, because I'm in the Greenfield area, to come to our events that I'll come. I will be sending you an email regarding it. And I just wanted to tell you thank you, because you do inspire our Greenfield area. And I want you to continue doing that. And then regarding the ICE, like I always tell my students, or the kids that I talk to, okay, you are here, they are here to do a job, but us as citizens and us as being a warming community, you are guests here. And you should be acting like guests here. If there is an issue, I've always told all the students or anything, or any kids that I come to, any adults, first of all, what you need to do is being a guest, what are you doing to make yourself valuable here in the United States? Learn the language, educate yourself. And then if you do have something, there is always a peaceful way to discuss this. You can speak, you can talk, but once you start with some anger or this, yes, you might be passionate, but at the end of the day, you still speak and say what you need to say. And there's no need for violence. There's no need to yell out that my raza, this and that. We know, we're Hispanics, we get it. But there's no need to start saying racial slurs or anything, because if we said something that, well, I'm assuming, I'm telling.
Excuse me,
I'm addressing
ma'am, please do not
everybody.
interrupt the speak. She's addressing this board. Please do not interrupt speakers. She's
Anyway,
addressing
so
this board.
that's
Thank
really
you.
where I wanted to start from peace, and that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I think people should do, is just, you know what, educate yourself and speak, have your thoughts in process already ready, and that's what I usually tell the students or my community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pena.
Do we have any other public speakers?
Andy Hensel, H-E-N-S-E-L. Good morning, board and staff. I just wanted to say that it's a new year, and I hope that a resolution could be that we get to know each other a little better. And I can say that the biggest surprise for me was Ms. Perez, because she brought her entire family down here, and I could see the strength of character that she had to pull from, and that was very reassuring. Thank you for that, Ms. Perez. Thank you.
That is so kind. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, next speaker, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
Sorry, I had to run in here. I almost missed public comments this morning. My name is Anna, first name A-N-A, last name Medel, M-E-D-E-L. It's been a little over a year since Operation Return to Sender took place in this county, an operation that led to the arrest of 78 individuals, which we later learned that Customs and Border Patrol had no prior knowledge or immigration history for 77 of those 78 individuals. When I spoke last year in the wake of these events, not only did I call for your board to make this county a sanctuary county, but I also called for the defunding of KCSO. And while those are two items that I would like recorded again today, I would also like for this board to stand resolutely against ICE. You govern a majority Hispanic community, and the actions that have taken place since ICE's inception, an institution that I am older than, has pervasively and negatively impacted the residents of this community. The same can be said of KCSO. A year ago, a KCSO sergeant was being charged for rape, and as of a week or two ago, another sergeant is facing a number of charges, including felonies. The police scorecard reviewed data from KCSO between 2013 and 2023 and gave this county a grade of 30%. The lowest graded section is police accountability. These combined factors call into question not only the integrity of the department, but the justification to continue funding them so much, when in the same vein, you choose to cut the public health department's budget by 25%, despite a grand jury's recommendation to restore it. You dismiss the idea of reallocating funds without considering the very real impact your decisions make, such as how the cuts to the public health department led to the firing of over 20 staff members. But when the public is disgruntled with the state of the department, it's not you who deals with the immediate repercussions. The decisions this board has made show that there is a lack of consideration for the public's well-being. And this is also displayed in the board's proposed ordinance exploring Kern County's transition to a charter county. Changing the rules about how power is filled while currently holding the power creates a clear conflict of interest and undermines public trust. I really hope that you file to run. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Anyone else?
Eh,
Ladies, beauty before wisdom.
She might also be wise.
I've learned from my
All women are wise.
Okay. Well, good morning, Board and Chair. My name is Thomasina Rivers, Tomasena, last name Rivers. Before I begin with what I was going to do, I apologize because I know slander and freedom of speech are two different things that I've been learning. So, again, you guys are awesome, and just got to bring it to you the right way, I guess. Okay, so I delivered a letter yesterday, and the letter serves to withdraw any statement or comment contained in prior correspondence that reference or relate to my pending federal lawsuit in the Eastern District Federal Court of California, Fresno. I will not address matter in any non-judicial forum while it remains pending. And I also want to say that the response to the issue at this, before I continue, the response of threatening was a little bit above. I'm more like screaming for help, okay? I went to Florida to take my daughter so we could see her father one last time. On the way back, the rental blew and I lost my ankle. My ankle, kneecap, and femur were broken. That is this that I'm sending you right now. This is still the image of my foot. So I'm fighting for my life, okay? And that's not the most important thing here right now. My life, I'm trying to use it for children. Again, Plans Elementary School helps this community in such a way. There's children with disabilities or learning disabilities. This school starts them in a class of 10, and it helps them proceed into a new classroom. They're doing glow dances. They're doing everything they can for these children. Again, I donated the $200. I'm waiting so I can donate more money. This is actually for the community, because I did ask the board that I'm sure you guys got so much going on. So this is to the community. There's about 2,000 people on the citizen portal right now as I'm about to run out of time. It only takes $1, $5, anything to donate to help this school strive. The principal is amazing, and also Mr. Matley, the vice principal, is amazing, and they're helping our children stay off the street, not do drugs, make the wrong decision. They're guiding them to a better future. And again, my son, I know it's over, my son is awesome at math, the best math reader, everything. He went from not doing his work to doing his work and following the rules and understanding consequences. So I hope you guys please have a great morning and keep your head up and strong, and don't let the violence get to you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Again, I apologize.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Board. My name is Jesse Albert Land, Jr. David, I'm not a member of any organized political party. I'm a Republican. Letitia, do you know why melons have to have weddings? Because they can't elope. Mr. Peters, I haven't met you yet. And Mr. Flores, we'll talk later. Chris Parlier, Kevin Oliver sent you an email about me. I haven't received any response yet. Anyway, 2 years ago, I came here pretty naive with a solution for California's affordable housing shortage. And of course, I was discounted and thought of as crazy. Or maybe I threatened some people because I might be smarter than them. Anyway, I'm basically here to wonder why none of you would meet with me. I've asked over the years and persisted. I gave my solution to the affordable housing project. It took me years to complete. It was over 14 pages. And Jeff Flores probably didn't even read it. You know, I'm in your district, Mr. Flores. So anyway, I'm wondering why. Why did I get a response? I was naive, and I thought that you guys would rally, give me a pat on the back, rally behind me, and say, good job. But you showed me the door and your heel. And I think I'm smarter than you, Jeff Flores, because your debacle is heart to heart with $1 million a year in maintenance that goes to that nonprofit. And Matthew Martin must be an idiot too, because he told me I didn't have a good idea. Have a good day.
Any other speakers?
Good morning, friends and friendlies. My name is Vivian, CAO is my last name, and I'm here on behalf of the Kern County Asian Chamber of Commerce. As you may know, we have an event on Thursday. It is our second annual Lunar New Year celebration, and unfortunately it's sold out, but I do have a little token of love and friendship going into the new year. It's lucky money envelopes. If you go to my event on Thursday, you'll have like crisp, clean money inside. But all jokes aside, thank you so much for always supporting the chamber. Thank you so much for all the work that you do behind the scenes. After hours, I know that you are also committed to all of your constituents, all 900,000 people that live in Kern County. Keep up the great work, and I appreciate you all. Julie, we need to see it.
Thank you. Any other public speakers?
Miss Lisa, MS dot Lisa, middle initial K, last name Pollard. I just want to share my words in a song. Oh Lord, I'm so glad that you showed me the way that leads to the land of endless day, where our souls shall ever live and rest and have a happy home with the pure and blessed. Oh, how I am glad to tell the story of you, great King, and all your glory. I know that you came in Jesus' name, revealing the truth and bore much shame. You have given me hope and joy in your love. I want to give you praise, dear Savior above. I want to give you praise, dear Savior above. So my mom came home from school one evening, in the afternoon, I guess. She was raised in Wasco, California. She said she had a little tent in the backyard. She'd go there and do her homework, and she would pray. And she came out of the tent, and that song came to her. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, He put a new song in my heart, even praises unto God. Many shall see it and fear and trust in the Lord. Fear meaning to be in awe. The government shall be upon his shoulders.
Thank you. Any other public speakers this morning? Okay, seeing none, we're going to end public comment. And we're going to move on to item number 8, which is board member announcements or reports. Are there any comments from the board? We'll start with Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. I wanted to give a shout out and give a really heartfelt gratitude and thank you to Bill Dickinson, the chief of our probation department. On Friday, we had a graduation at Hodell's, quintessential Kern County. And we had in that room the best of Kern County. And I mean it. We had folks from the right, we had folks from the left, and most of the people which are right in the center. And we came together in a really glorious moment of unity around 18 graduates from an MC3 program. And this is a 10-week apprenticeship program where folks in this community, many getting second, third, fourth chances in life, to learn and be exposed to the crafts that are available to them in Kern County, careers for them that don't require an expensive, lengthy education program, college degree, but really an acquisition of real skills applicable and in high demand right here and beyond Kern County. And it was extraordinary to have members of the probation department, in particular officers Fabian, Eric, Elaine, who have been working very, very closely with young people in this community who have started out on the wrong foot in life and have unbelievable tragedy and trauma in their lives, and as a result of that, ended up in our institutions for correction. And the partnership between the Arts Council, Jeanette and Alva Lopez, the love, the warmth, the direction, the guidance, and the partnership provided by probation is unlike anything I have ever seen in my life. Friday was a really extraordinary moment for Kern County, an extraordinary moment for these young people whose lives are being turned around, literally young people who are in custody receiving training in the trades, opportunity at real redemption in their life, opportunity to turn their lives around and move in a different direction with the actual partnership, love, and hope of our probation officers. So I just want to take a moment to tip my hat to Bill Dickinson, whose heart and mind have been open in a way that many people simply would not. It's a risk, and it's got its own liabilities, but it's an extraordinary effort being done nowhere else in California, but in Kern County's probation department. That might shock you. It certainly shocks me at times. But I want to say, Bill, to you, thank you. God bless your efforts. Thank you for directing your people to be open to the Arts Council and the opportunity to guide our young people in a new way. And we had Morgan Clayton in the crowd. We had city council members in the crowd. We had Chris Parlier in the crowd and his staff. And it really was, I don't think there was a dry eye in the room. And it was really quite the best of us. So I appreciate that these are challenging times politically. It's not the first time that we've had remarkable conflict and difficult growing pains in this nation, and it certainly won't be the last. But these moments give me hope. They give me, faith and renewed in my commitment to serve this community without, partisan interference, without, racial and other divides that don't serve this community well. Whether they be genuine, heartfelt realities for all of us. And so I remain hopeful. Bill, thank you. I want to thank all the members of this community who are partaking in the reshaping of these young people. It's meaningful, it's real, and it's the best of us. So thank you. Appreciate your indulgence, Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez.
I see Bill here.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, no, please come on up, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for letting me speak. Supervisor Perez, you were right in saying that the best of us were there Friday because I wasn't there. So that made it very true. No, I don't want to take too much of your time, but just want to say I was probably least involved in all that success. You were at the forefront of making that connection with Arts Council and CRC. And of course, the folks that work for them and the folks that work for me, to be able to make it work in our setting is remarkable, the work that they're doing. The fact that these youth can be in our custody, leave for part of the day and get this training and come back and be ready for work when they leave our custody is really a testament. And then of course, credit goes to the youth that really take advantage of the opportunity. So I thank you for making the connection. I thank the entire board for the support that you have for our department and the things that we want to do. And I ask that Ms. Graham, you just close your ears when she says liability. I promise we're doing our best to mitigate that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, Supervisor Flores.
Congratulations, Chief. I have two items. One, I'd like to give a shout out and thank you to our outstanding sheriff and sheriff's department and deputies and our county departments, code enforcement, Kern County Mental Health, and Flood Ministries for a very productive operation last Friday. It's been a series of operations. It resulted in 17 arrests, 8 felonies, 9 misdemeanors, recovery of a stolen vehicle, and 4 tons of trash and debris in cleaning up the community, specifically in Oildale. So I'm grateful for our law enforcement. I commend law enforcement. I'm thankful for law enforcement for keeping us safe. And our business community and my constituents specifically are very pleased. And last night we attended a Oildale Community Action Team meeting, and they were so thankful also and grateful. So I want to commend that. Also, the nonprofit in Oildale, which is Tiny Homes, is doing a phenomenal job in housing the homeless in private, non-congregate setting. The statistics speak for themselves. Place is clean, doing great work, and we're going to continue to do great work despite the naysayers. It's the naysayers that are the problem. They actually contribute to homelessness and make it worse. And lastly, I want to end on a positive note. Something we lost. We haven't met in a couple weeks, so we lost a dear former city councilwoman, Irma Carson, who was a champion for East Bakersfield and Southeast Bakersfield in particular. I was at her funeral this Saturday, and the whole community showed up to pay their respects, and it was a beautiful tribute to someone who's a true civil rights leader, who broke barriers, who came from Monroe, Louisiana, to St. Louis, to Kern County, was the first African-American female officer back in the early 70s, and who was a trustee for the Bakersfield City School District, who worked on equity and elevating our community far before these were buzzwords in education. She walked the walk, she talked the talk, she ran the good race, she served with distinction in our city council, and she got an honorary doctorate at Cal State Bakersfield. So I'd like to adjourn in her memory and send that accordingly to her family. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Flores. Any other members? Supervisor Couch.
Jeff, you stole my my thunder there. I was going to ask that we adjourn in Councilmember Carson's honor also, so I'm glad to do that. I got to serve with her, and she was a very special person, and I also got to visit her and see her work up close at Ebony Counseling.
Nice.
And so it's one thing to be a director of something, but she was a director that ran that place, but also touched individual lives of the kids that she mentored and dealt with. Anyway, you're right. She had an amazing life.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch.
Thank you. Sometimes people accuse you of things, and they're so absurd you think you're not going to even bother to respond to them. But for the record, I am not now, have never been, and nor I ever will be a member of the organization that I was accused of being a member of previously or earlier this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Okay, seeing none, we will now move to item number 18, which is under the County Council's office. Proposed resolution to approve an ordinance adopting a county charter and placing the ordinance on the June 2nd, 2026 ballot. And for that, I will turn over to our County Counsel, Kendra Graham.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Chair, members of the board. On November 4th, 2025, I presented information to your board on the pros and cons of adopting a county charter and the methods in which you can do so. Following the presentation, your board directed my office to prepare a proposed county charter for Kern County, modeled after the Shasta County Charter, for possible submission to the electorate at the June 2nd, 2026 election. This item is in response to that referral. Article 11, Section 3 of the California Constitution authorizes counties to adopt charters to provide for local self-government subject to constitutional limitations. The Government Code authorizes a Board of Supervisors to propose a county charter by ordinance and submit the proposed charter to the voters for approval. If approved by a majority of the electors voting on the measure, the charter is deemed ratified and becomes effective upon acceptance and filing of the California Secretary of State. Our office has drafted a proposed charter that is modeled after the Shasta County Charter. The Shasta County Charter was approved by the voters and accepted by the Secretary of State. The draft charter includes a limited provision governing the procedure for filling vacancies on the Board of Supervisors. All other matters remain governed by general law, the Kern County Ordinance Code, and the county administrative policies and procedures. Pursuant to Elections Code 9140, your board may submit an ordinance to the voters without a petition. Approval by your board of the proposed ordinance is required in order to place the county charter before the electorate. The ordinance specifies that if approved by the voters, it will take effect following certification of the election results and will become effective on November 1st, 2026, subject to acceptance and filing by the California Secretary of State. Your board is being requested to adopt the attached resolution, which would thereby approve the proposed ordinance to be placed on the June 2nd ballot. The language which would appear on the ballot for consideration by the voters is as follows, and I quote, "Shall measure blank," which will later be filled in, which is establishing Kern County as a California charter county, be adopted. This measure establishes Kern County as a California charter county. The proposed charter would allow for members of the Board of Supervisors to appoint or call for a special election to fill a vacancy on the Board of Supervisors. Therefore, it is recommended that your board adopt the attached resolution. Adopting the resolution will do the following. 1, it will adopt the proposed ordinance adding Chapter 1.01, Title I to the Kern County Ordinance Code, establishing Kern County as a California charter county. 2, it will authorize submission of the proposed ordinance to the voters of Kern County. 3, it will order that the election be held on Tuesday, June 2nd, and is to be consolidated with the statewide election to be held on that date. 4, it will authorize the proposed language of the ballot measure. 5, it will find that submission of the proposed ordinance to the electorate is not a project under CEQA and is otherwise exempt from further CEQA review. 6, it will direct the filing of the notice of exemption from CEQA. And finally, 7, it will authorize and direct the auditor, controller, county clerk to take all needed steps consistent with the Elections Code to conduct the consolidated election at the, as to the proposed charter. That concludes my statements, and I'm free to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Open it up to the board if there are any questions before we go to the public. Okay, seeing none, we will open it up for public comment if there are any speakers.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning to the Board of Supervisors, Madam Vice. Good morning. Charles Shin, retired Marine, SHINN, concerned citizen. Charter County versus General Law County. In California, charter counties have voter-adopted charter that grants them more autonomy or home rule authority to create their own rules on issues like election and compensation of county officers, whereas general law counties must adhere to the detailed and ancient structure and requirements outlined in the California Governmental Code and other state laws. There are 16 or 17 charter counties, and the general law counties in California with charter counties able to make decisions regarding local affairs that do not conflict with state law. To be a charter county, that means rather than strictly following general state laws like general law counties, which is what we are, the county has its own voter-approved county charter. This charter functions as a local constitution, granting the county a degree of home rule autonomy over specific local matters like the number and duties of elected officials, compensation, structure of county government. Charter allows for local customization of governance, provided it doesn't conflict with broader state or federal laws. In other words, there's inherent value, in my mind, with local decision-making. Also, that equates to local control. And that directly ties back to the governing of the community. And I am in favor of Charter 100%. And I thank the board. Thank you. I'll be followed by the resolute Glenn Clayton.
Good morning. I'm in the right place now. I'm Glenn Clayton, C-L-A-Y-T-O-N. Thank you for all that you do. What are charter counties' characteristics? Number one, home rule. These counties operate under a voter-approved charter, acting as a local constitution and allows for greater flexibility in local matters. Number two, local governance. A charter can define the election, compensation powers of county officers, as well as structure of city departments and commissions. Number three, voter approval. The charter can only be amended or repealed by voters of the county. Examples, Alameda, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, among the 16 charter counties in California. Now, what are the general law counties' characteristics? State law governed, point number one. These counties follow the California Government Code and other applicable state laws for their structure and their functions. Number two, standardized structure. General law counties must adhere to state law regarding the number and duties of their elected officials. The examples are Contra Costa County, Riverside, Santa Barbara. Therefore, we as concerned citizens believe that Kern County would exercise greater self-governance power and flexibility through their local charter versus a standardized one-size-fits-all government. Board, thank you very much for your consideration in this matter.
Andy Hensel, H-E-N-S-E-L. Morning board and staff. So what are the 4 key benefits of a charter county? Increased local autonomy, structural and administrative flexibility, financial management advantages such as fiscal autonomy, local taxing authority, and alternate bidding processes. And lastly, increased stability and accountability, such as codified structure and more direct accountability. Now, I have a list of charter counties. I'm going to read off to you and their populations so you can see where Kern might fit in. Los Angeles, 9.8 million. San Diego, 3.3 million. Orange, 3.1 million. Riverside, 2.5 million. San Bernardino, 2.2 million population. Santa Clara, 1.9 million. Alameda, 1.6 million. Sacramento, 1.5 million. San Mateo, 760,000. Fresno, 1 million. Ventura, 830,000. Sonoma, 485,000. Placer, 420,000. Butte, 205,000. El Dorado, 195,000. Tehama, 65,000. Shasta, 180,000. San Mateo, who is in review right now, is 760,000. And Kern County, should we become a county, would be, well, our population is 909,000. That puts us right in between Fresno and Ventura County. So charter counties come in all shapes and sizes. And thank you very much. I'm being followed by Mercy Pena.
Hello again, Mercy Pena, P-E-N-A, and I'm going to speak regarding the charter process. So the steps to becoming a charter county, this is the general process. The authority granted by the state law, The state constitution and laws give the counties the authority to adopt a charter. Initiation of the process. A is the board proposal. The county's governance board, like a board of supervisors, can adopt an ordinance to create a charter commission. Second, the voter initiative. A petition signed by qualified voters can also initiate the process of creating a charter commission. Now, the formation of a charter commission. The commission of elected representatives or qualified citizens is formed to draft the proposed charter. Now, drafting the charter. The commission prepares a draft of the charter, which acts as a mini constitution for the county, outlining the governance structures and powers. Thank you.
My name is Julie Solis, and I'm a Bakersfield resident. I'm speaking in opposition to the Kern County Charter Initiative on today's agenda. This is another step backwards to the good old days of sundown towns and power grabs that continue to put us at risk. Good morning to my neighbors and family in Kern County. I stand before the members of the board who are once again trying to hoodwink us into an initiative that takes away our power to vote and gives them more power for abuse. No to the Kern County Charter Initiative. While it's presented as a plan to improve efficiency, this charter actually centralizes power in a small group of leaders, reducing transparency and limiting public accountability. Decisions that affect elections, taxes, public services, and our daily lives will have less oversight and without meaningful community input. We deserve a seat at the table where decisions are being made. We deserve a vote. Our community deserves leaders who are accountable to the people, not a system that limits our voice. I urge the Board of Supervisors to consider the residents they serve and reject this initiative. Transparency, accountability, and public participation are essential to maintain trust in local government. We do not trust the Board of Supervisors because they have already misused our funds and are sneaky at every turn. No on Kern County Charter Initiative. The people of Kern County are watching. We are paying attention, and we are voting no. Why should we trust you? You've drove on the roads. You've drove through town, seeing the chaos, the homelessness. You've walked on the sidewalks. You've seen all the potholes. Valley fever cases continue to skyrocket. Thousands are sick, destroyed lives forever. The death toll rises as you all continue to sit quietly, gathering power behind the scenes. This initiative is another invitation to more greed. On the Kern County initiative, we are saying no. The four
Please bring your comments to a close.
The four
Excuse me, I said.
that spoke before me did not have a clock, and then you put the clock on when I came up. They were not timed. The nerve of you to turn that clock on shows how inappropriate and how
Okay, excuse me, if you're not going to, everybody was,
by that time.
if you don't,
They were
okay.
not timed. Why am I
Okay, we're gonna, if you continue, we're gonna take a recess.
for four speakers before me, so I'm going to speak as long as I want because you did not time them. I'm not listening to you, Phillips. You guys have
Okay, we're gonna stop the meeting right now until we've removed Miss. Yes, we're going to be recessed, and I would ask if our deputies would please escort her out of the room. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and resume the meeting. And just to clarify, none of the other speakers spoke more than 2 minutes. No, the timer didn't go on, but that was an oversight on my part. I apologize. Everybody has a 2-minute time limit. That hasn't changed, so please bear that in mind moving forward. Yeah, thank you. And can we please hear from our next speaker? Thank you. I'm sorry, ma'am. Could you hold on just 1 second? Yeah, we don't have your mic on yet. Sorry about that.
Okay,
There we go. We got you now.
okay. As a lady that lives in Kern County, I often disagree with you guys, but I also respect you, and I feel bad about what just happened. The only thing I have a question is, I could not hear you when you were talking. I know you were talking to them, but I also wanted to hear what you were saying. So if you could put your mouth closer to the microphone, because I couldn't hear most of what you said. But I have a question. I know this proposed charter has a lot of good things in it, but the one thing that I had heard, and one of the reasons I'm here, is part of that charter change allow you to appoint your successors rather than have the voters approve them? Is this the measure that does that?
Okay, I'd be happy to get some answers for you, but we don't normally do a question and answer portion here. So if you just want to provide your comments, I'll see if we can get some clarification for you afterward.
Well, then, if it takes away the right of the voters to vote on selection of successive supervisors and representative on this board, I object to that part of it. So the rest of it may be good, but I don't like my right to vote for my representative to be taken away. And if there's any way to change that portion of any regulation that you're considering, I'm asking you to please consider not taking away the right of the voters to vote on your successors and the representation of a supervisor on this board. Thank you very much. And if you will allow me, I have a couple of more things for you to read in your spare time.
What's that? Thank you for your comments. So just for clarification, as my understanding, I'll let our county council explain it, but this isn't about not voting for our positions. This is about if there were a vacancy to happen, as has happened in the past, rather than having the governor appoint, we just have us as local electeds have the ability to fill that vacancy. It's not about continually voting, but I'll let our county council clarify that.
Chairman, you are correct, but I would just add to that it also gives the voters the right, or your board the right, to call a special election, whereas under the general law, you would have to wait till the next statewide election to appoint. So it actually gives you the opportunity to send it to the vote sooner rather than having to wait for a statewide general election.
Yes, great clarification. Thank you.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Emma de la Rosa, and I'm a constituent of Supervisor Flores' district, District 3, and I'm here today on my own capacity. In the draft ordinance, it is stated that the purpose of the charter is to provide for local self-government, and I really couldn't agree more. Self-government, I define a government that is led by the people, in this case, the people of Kern County, the people that you represent. And that is why I am strongly opposed to this charter and the ordinance establishing the county charter. Earlier today, one of the members here, one of the residents mentioned that there is another form in which the ordinance and a charter could be developed that actually puts the power and the control onto the people that you represent. There is a process outlined in Government Code 23701 to 23710 that is started through an election of a charter commission, which is then tasked to develop that charter, and that charter is then subject to public review, extensive public review and oversight, and then that charter is placed onto the ballot for an election from the people. And the way in which you have moved this process forward, although yes, it is listed in the code, you're able to do this. But in the way that you have decided to take this process completely negates us the opportunity to engage in a process in which we can inform a charter. We have no say in any of what was discussed. There was only one other presentation provided back in June, and then now we're here for your consideration to adopt this charter. There was no public process, and that's the problem with this ordinance. That's the problem with this charter, and that is why I'm asking you to please do not approve this ordinance. Do not approve this charter. Take some time to think about it, and take some time to please bring it back to the public, the people that you represent. I understand that there is an option to, the way that the ordinance is written allows you to appoint someone or to run a special elections, but I've seen other counties that have charters, and they always opt to appoint someone. And the reason why they opt to appoint someone is because special elections cost money. And if we don't have the money in our budget, which typically comes up as an issue, we won't be running special elections, let's be honest, right? And so I think it's important for the public, the people that you represent, to take part in this process as well. Please oppose this ordinance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Gloria Herrera, Herrera. Live in Kern County, and I am here to oppose the proposed Charter County ordinance, allowing the Board of Supervisors to appoint replacements instead of holding elections. Concentrates power in the hands of the sitting majority and reduce voters' participation. Changing the rules where currently holding power creates a clear conflict and interest and undermines public trust. Local control should mean empowering voters, not limiting their voice. I urge the board to slow this process down and reject any changes that weaken democratic accountability. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, just a clarification, this does not prevent voters from voting on our seats. This is just a way to fill vacancies if they were to occur on the board. Right now, it would be filled by the governor. In a different situation, it could either go to a special election or could be temporarily appointed by this board. So it's not stopping elections from happening. So just wanted to make that clarification in case there's any misunderstanding. Our next speaker, please.
Thank you very much. My name's Sam Hardman. Again, I'm from Tehachapi, and I did not come down here to originally talk about this. This is the first I've heard about it. And I'm not real clear on the exact process that y'all are talking about as far as being able to appoint someone versus having a special election. I myself am a veteran. I have 18 family members that have served this country, 4 paid the ultimate price. I treasure the vote. The vote is what it was all about. Our rights and our freedoms. That's what the service was about. And any policy that is created that jeopardizes that vote for the people, I would oppose. Now, I understand what you're saying. You're not replacing or you're not removing that right to vote, but there is the caveat of being able to appoint. And my point on this is that if you remove that caveat that you can't appoint, because the problem with appointing is you get political cronies appointing other political cronies, and the thing gets to where you can't trust what's going on. And the people don't have a say. And the people need to have a say in a democracy, in a representative republic that we have. And for me, that's very precious. So not me, I appreciate what y'all are going through and it's difficult and whatnot, but that's something I would strongly consider. Millions of people have died serving this country for that vote.
Well, I would like to say thank you for your service, sir, and I wholeheartedly agree with you about the importance of voting. And so just, again, for a little further explanation, under the law the way it is right now, and I invite county council to correct me if I misspeak, but currently, if a vacancy were to occur, if somebody were to be removed from or leave the board, or for whatever reason a vacancy is created, under current law, if there's more than 2 years left in that term, it goes to a special election, or to the next general election. And if there's less than 2 years, that position is filled by the governor of California. This would just change it to where we could hold a special election if needed, or rather than being appointed by the governor, this board could appoint it to serve that temporary term of less than 2 years. So just hopefully that provides a little more clarification. And again, if I misspoke, please feel free to set the record straight. But I just want to make sure everybody understands what we're working on moving forward. So our next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Maria Fernandez. I'm coming from Delano. I'm sorry I don't speak a lot of English. I say in Spanish. Yo estoy aquí porque yo me opongo a lo que ustedes quieren hacer, el board de supervisores, de elegirse uno al otro. Yo pienso que deben de darle la oportunidad a los votantes de que ellos sean los que decidan quién deben de estar. Gracias.
Gracias.
María Fernández y vengo de Delano.
My name is Maria Fernandez. I'm here from Delano.
Y yo estoy aquí porque me opongo a la decisión que quieren tomar.
I am here opposing the decision that you're about to make.
Deben de dejar que los votantes sean los que deciden quién debe de estar en el...
You should let the voters decide who is our next representative
En el board de supervisores.
and at the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Elsa, if before we move on to our next speaker, would it be okay if I had you just kind of explain what I explained earlier in Spanish for the benefit of anybody else that that might not be as fluent in English?
Absolutely. Mr. I have to remember, sorry
Philip's
about the
fine.
titles. If you could just say it in English, and I'll be happy to translate it as you speak.
Thank you. Kendra, could I just have you maybe share the gist of what this does as far as what state law prescribes right now for the vote,
Right.
and what this would change about it?
Yes. Currently, under state law,
Sobre la ley al corriente del Estado,
the governor, if there's a vacancy on the Board of Supervisors,
si hay una vacante en el
and there's no, I'm sorry, I'm
Go
not very
ahead.
good at this either. If there's a vacancy on the Board of Supervisors and there's more than half of the term left of that particular member,
So si hay una vacante en la Junta de Supervisores y el supervisor tiene más de 2 años que tiene que estar en la Junta de Supervisores,
the governor of the state of California would appoint
el
somebody to
gobernador
fill
del
the
Estado de
vacancy.
California decidirá quién esté en la Junta de los Supervisores.
What this charter would do would allow, rather than the governor appointing,
Lo que están decidiendo es si aprueban esto, en lugar del gobernador ser la persona que aprueba quién estará en la mesa de supervisores,
the Board of Supervisors could appoint.
los supervisores pueden poner a una persona si es
thereby maintaining local control.
De esa manera mantener el control local sobre quién está en la mesa de los supervisores.
And a key difference in the two
La diferencia entre los dos
is that when the governor appoints,
cuando el gobernador decide quién está en la mesa,
there cannot be an election that goes to the people until there is a general statewide election.
No puede, si el gobernador decide, no puede haber una elección para que las personas de nuestro condado elijan a la persona a menos que haya una elección general.
Whereas if the county board of supervisors appoints,
Pero si la mesa de supervisores es la persona que elige,
they can hold a special election at a sooner time.
ellos pueden llamar a una elección especial aún más pronto que una elección general.
That's correct. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, I know it was kind of impromptu, but I really appreciate that from both of you. I think that is going to be helpful. Our next public speaker, please.
Hi, members of the board, Chairman Peters, Russell Johnson here on behalf of the Associated Builders and Contractors. Submitted a letter from the Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce speaking in support of the Charter County effort. On behalf of ABC, just want to speak in support of the county charter effort. Let's be clear, Sacramento has not been good to Kern County. So we applaud your board for putting this forward to remove Sacramento from the process when selecting who would serve on a vacancy for the Board of Supervisors. Keeping this local and letting Kern County decide who should be representing us, as opposed to Sacramento picking and choosing and putting someone in that may not share Kern County values. So I'd also like to share that, not represented today in a letter, but I did speak with SIPA. SIPA's in support of the county charter effort as well, and also the Kern County Home Builders Association. Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next speaker, please.
Hi, Johnny Olagas. Where'd it go? Can you turn the timer off? I know I'm not on your team, but maybe I don't know how to do that. I noticed you didn't turn it on for him either. Anyway, I understand.
There's nobody that hasn't been turned on for yet. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Go ahead.
I understand that at the federal level, we have a criminal president who is trying to start a civil war in order to shield himself and his friends from justice. So I ask myself, is this a power grab on Kern County's part? Is this a power grab on Kern County's supervisor's part, who may face legal issues in the future? We should be allowed to have a louder voice, not reduce it. While I understand the desire to move the county to make faster decisions, we have a process for a reason, to eliminate conflicts of interest, which is a huge problem at the city of Bakersfield, and I would hate to see it with Kern County. You guys are running, I think you guys run a lot smoother than Bakersfield. Now, I do not believe that you guys have the know-how or community trust to run the county with autonomy. Look no further than the recent events with Youngblood in Youngblood's interview with KGT on the Scrivener case. He stated the investigation was done properly, but handled improperly. He said this after mentioning that his deputies were interrupted by Kathy Scrivener. How does that make any sense? Technically, that is a logical fallacy. Something I'd expect the leader of the Kern County Sheriff's Department to understand. It is flawed and illogical statement. While people complain about Newsom, earlier about some of California, and the state of California being too lenient, how can the sheriff of the county offer inconsistencies in an investigation which can dictate future cases and the future of our children? I have a 16-month-old. If anything happens to my kid, you know I'm gonna go crazy and I'm gonna do stuff that is probably illegal.
Okay,
so with that said, I am opposed and I believe this should be reconsidered. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next speaker, please.
This is a new topic, right?
Yes,
Okay.
this is about the charter for the
Miss
county.
Lisa? MS dot, middle initial K, last name P-O-L-L-A-R-D. The only thing that came up with me in hearing, I'm not familiar with the topic, but when they started talking about voting for this board, someone that I know said she never got anything in the mail regarding any kind of election to vote her choosing of who could be in the board. So I just wanted to share that.
Okay. Are you talking about in past elections?
As I said, I'm not familiar.
Okay.
I'm just sharing with you someone that I know, since they brought it up, which she explained it a little bit, but I didn't get all of it. As far as when you vote for you guys.
Okay.
She did not get, if you're supposed to mail them, or how they supposed to find out how to vote. She said she didn't get anything to know to be able to vote for anyone to be on the board. So
Okay.
she didn't have that opportunity. So I don't know how you guys give those opportunities. I'm not political.
Gotcha.
So, but I'm learning.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we appreciate you being here. But
Okay.
if she has questions also about something that's happened regarding voting, she can feel free to call our offices or the CAO's office, and we'll make sure that we get her in touch with the registrar of voters and see if we can.
How much time do I have left? Because the clock stopped at 1:03.
Yeah, well, you can continue.
Okay, so the last time I was here, when I went over 44 seconds or whatever it was, but I got exactly what I wanted to say at the end from what I've learned from last year. People feel like they're not, I don't even remember what I said now. Do you remember? Were you listening? Because
Been a
I've
lot of information today.
experienced short-term memory, but, you know, they feel like it's a waste of time, nothing's getting done, I'm not gonna come back. So she's not gonna do that. So she shared with me about that, and I just, when you brought up the topic, I just wanted to share that comment. So I will relay the message to her, and maybe I can come back and give a comment that she might want me to share with you, if that's okay.
Sure, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Could we have our next speaker, please?
Good morning, Supervisors. Tracy
Morning.
Leach. Today I'm here on behalf of Kern Citizens for Energy, the largest coalition supporting our oil and gas industry and all forms of energy. We're here in support of placing passing this resolution to place a Kern County charter on the June ballot. Many thousands of pro-oil and gas voters have spent decades advocating for local control, local production, and all the benefits that redound to us from local production to stay here. So it's pretty consistent that we also want the choice of our supervisors to be occurring locally. So when there's a vacancy, we do not want to cede that power to the governor to appoint. We want to keep that here with the voters and our local elected representatives. So this charter will make that possible. We support that. We should produce our own oil and gas and not have over 75% of it coming from outside our state, mostly foreign oil. We should also be the ones getting to select you all, our local representatives, and having the opportunity to vote in those, should those vacancies occur. So we urge your support for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Could we have our next speaker, please?
Hi, Robert Hooks. Seems to be the perception by the board and others that there is more local control opportunity than there will be. If you look at the details, there is no local control that people truly care about of oil, water, and ag. But there is cost and bureaucracy to manage this charter. How many out-of-date policies and procedures do you have? How hard is it to keep them current? How hard is it to keep them current when elections are required to update them? How much harder will it be to keep them current when it costs money that you don't have? This was a con reported by your staff. There are far more pressing matters in the county than this. There's a growing perception that this might be for political gain. Staff once again did a terrific job, but missed a key universally accepted con for these types of charters, which is it allows parties in power to consolidate control. Charters can be used by dominant political factions to consolidate power. Why else would you adopt a charter from a county barely 1/5 the size of Kern? Why else rush a piecemeal charter with only one veiled opportunity that will cost more money and time later for other diluted opportunities? Why else adopt a charter that is certain to give a clear advantage to conservative members of this board? There is enough uncertainty and lack of clarity to warrant more time. I disagree with the inference that this is too much, that this may be too much information or complexity for the county to digest. If that is a concern, and if you value our opinion, you allow more time. To wrap this up, I recommend a no vote for pursuing a charter. But if you insist on doing this, I say we need more time. And if you persist on rushing, I say hold Supervisor Couch to his word, which leans heavily towards elections for filing vacancies, and be very precise on the criteria for special elections, and be exact on what will happen to Supervisor Couch's position if he leaves recently. Thank you.
Our next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Robin Fernandez, and I'm a 3rd District individual. I'm going to speak on the charter real quick. My main thing is I believe that we need oversight from the state. Living in Kern County, and the man behind me spoke about local autonomy. What happened with Zach Scribner is local autonomy. How he was able to escape true justice and was giving mental health diversion where no one else would. That would not happen anywhere else. So, and as far as the time frames when Couch vacates his seat, which is the whole reason we're having this charter discussion, I personally believe, the less than 2 years, more than 2 years, we all know you can be silver-tongued in your speech and say there's the option of special elections. Emma stated, we all know special elections cost a great deal of money, and that is never going to be the choice that the board is going to make. They are going to choose to take care of it within their ranks and promote someone. And we've had history in the past where the governor did appoint one. I believe years ago, that's how Mayor Go served on this Board of Supervisors. She was appointed by Schwarzenegger, I think. I'm not real good on history. And
You're
just
correct.
Like,
You're
okay,
correct.
the woman behind me, I'm 69, so your memory kind of comes and goes, you know? But that is what it is. So thank you guys for listening to me, and I do not agree with this at all, and I'm not alone. And perhaps you guys should approach it like the city approached the sewer issue, which had great discussions, and they had special meetings. And Couch, you're shaking your head, so you must be waking up now, because you've been having trouble staying awake up there this morning. I don't know if you don't feel well or what it is, but you are struggling to stay awake in your seat. So thank you guys for my time.
Our next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name's Roseanne Wattenville, last name Wattonville. Mr. Peters, you represent me in my district. And I just wanted to mention a few little facts. Kern County was created April 2nd, 1866. So we've been a county without a charter for 160 years. 160 years. And another point, I know, David, you've been a supervisor from 2013 for 13 years, and we're looking at now a vacancy in your district. So I just want to remind everyone, District 4 is 72.2% Latino and Hispanic. And it's made up of communities include in your district Delano, Wasco, Shafter, McFarland, parts of Southwest Bakersfield, Lamont, and Arvin. 72.2% Latino and Hispanic. I did a little research on charters, and a major negative to the charters, potential high cost. And I know that this district, all of our county is really concerned with cost. Long-term legal and political gridlock. There's long-term legal and political gridlock, outdated governance that's difficult to change. So this is a really big thing to look at supposedly local control, or Gavin Newsom's not making a selection, because all I've heard is that coming up is the fact that, there could be an opening, and we don't want our governor to fill that spot. We want to fill it locally with by the BOS. So while you proponents highlight increased local control, we've heard that over and over. The practical implementation of a charter can create significant, persistent disadvantages. I think we need to take some time to really look at those disadvantages before we make this huge
I appreciate it, but we're 30 seconds over already, so if you could please bring your comments to a close.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
I think it's a big decision. I just think we really, really need to take a big look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next speaker, please.
Good morning, Board. Jess Sanders, JES. Make sure you start that clock. The local control, I think, is good for a lot of reasons. They brought up the Zach Scrivener debacle. Just needed the people to know that that was not a local thing. That was sent off to Governor Newsom's California DA Bontes, and most of the judgments that lessened his value were judges appointed by Governor Newsom. So those people were not voted in by Kern County. They were appointed by a very liberal governor. And we wind up with a debacle like Zach Scrivener's case. So that was because there was no local control. I just wanted to say that. Thank you all again.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Board. My name is Carter, like Jimmy, Beardsley, like the school. I think my biggest concern with this, I know most of you, so, it's probably not in my personal ideals interest that this board would appoint any vacancy. But I think that the bigger problem here is that we're taking, anytime that, we add this, or the board could appoint a vacancy, that adds a really, really big issue. If you guys want to take that out and it just calls for a special election, we take it out of the governor's authority and we put it to a special election. Look, that's not my favorite thing, but I could live with that. The problem is, this board just voted back in August to cut $12 million from public health. We slashed the budget by 25% for public health in a place where we have half of the doctors that our residents need. We have lines out the door to urgent cares because people can't get a primary care physician. And it's the top issue for voters. And yet we had to slash $12 million to public health. I cannot imagine that this board is going to be able to find the funds to host a special election in the event that there's a vacancy on this board. So giving that authority to the board members, look, we elect you guys to represent our interests as the Board of Supervisors for our county, not to be the Electoral College. And frankly, I just think that it takes this authority out of the voters' hands when we say that you guys are going to resort to appointing, because ultimately we know that that's what it's going to come down to. And I know that we're outnumbered in terms of a conservative majority. It's a conservative ideal to not have a big government, and I think that when you guys include this language of appointment, you step into that big government role that you guys are so actively fighting against. And so I just hope that you reconsider this, because this charter takes the power out of the voice of voters the second that you implement that appointment word. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, Marissa Folse, Marisafolse from Tehachapi. I applaud the idea of a charter. I understand the concept of appointing it locally and not the governor. And you five, I know, but 10 years from now, I won't know those people. And who knows if they're going to appoint someone. And my only thought is, if the charter, or if that section of the charter that I've seen, because it's only a little snippet, states when an election will happen, as opposed to the election, which someone in the future could say, I'm going to hold that election 50 years from now, and I'm going to keep the seat. That's my only concern, is the languaging, where even though the concept of the languaging could be very clear and very direct, the specifics, if there's a way to see it as a loophole, that may be a challenge. Not necessarily for you, but down the road for our children and their children. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would actually ask County Council, you don't know if you have the specific language in front of you, but to further clarify about this charter, that it only affects things that aren't already prescribed under state law, and how special elections are held is already defined under state law, is my understanding. There's certain benchmarks or milestones that have to be, or that trigger each step in that election process. If I, probably not very eloquently stating, but I know that it's not something that we can just flippantly decide at some point we're going to have an election. There's very clear benchmarks in there under state law, I believe. If you can expand on that anymore.
Yes, the state law does set forth the criteria for when elections will take place. And we've gone over this before. It's quite complicated, but to the last speaker's comment, it can't be like in 50 years. There's 4-year terms. There has to be some election, either at the end of that 4-year term. If you had to appointed someone during the first year, at least by the third year of their term, there would be a general election that they would have to run. However, there are numerous opportunities throughout those 4 years to hold an election. It could be special or general. And the government code or the elections code that sets forth that. And it's a complicated process, but it's like the first Tuesday after the first Monday in March of even numbered years that's evenly divisible by 4, or the first Tuesday. It gives like 5 or 6 different options. So within that 4-year period, there are numerous opportunities to run either a general election or a special election that's consolidated with a general election, which wouldn't, at some point, you're probably going to have an election that's going to cost the county money anyway. I hope that makes sense and
Yeah, no,
answer your question.
it does. I appreciate that clarification, and I hope that was helpful to your point. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on this item?
Hello, my name is Aaron Clerico, C-L-E-R-I-C-O. I live in District 3. I am a 4th generation Kern County resident. One thing that I know from my lifetime in this county and being observant, my families were involved in agriculture and real estate, is that it's always pretty much going to go the way the big money wants it to go. And this sounds like a radical change to the way that we're going to govern ourselves. And if this means, you know, more local control, that sounds like a bunch of early morning meetings. And the big money is going to have their lawyers there representing their interests. Everybody else is going to be at work. So this sounds like an even bigger power grab by the moneyed interests that have always controlled Kern County. So I want to encourage you to not support this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public speakers?
Good morning, I'm Doris Hall, H-A-L-L. I'm from District 1, and I just wanted to say that I oppose this county charter. There's been quite a few different reasons brought up already, and I agree with a lot of them, especially the cost of special elections and otherwise, especially when we're facing so many cuts. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other public speakers? Could we get an idea, just if you wouldn't mind, just by show of hands, how many other speakers we have remaining? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so this gentleman here will be our final speaker.
Oh, boy, the finale, huh? So,
no pressure.
Good morning, board. Thanks for the time. You know, I really wasn't going to speak this morning, but it's it just seems like, listening to all the comments this morning, this boils down to one issue. And I was hoping that we're looking at this as a way of how it's gonna save money for Kern County, you know, or how it's gonna affect financially this county, and what it could do long-term, you know, to the health and well-being of our county. So I hope that we're not looking at this for just this one issue as to who's gonna decide who's gonna take a spot, you know, if somebody leaves one way or the other. I mean, I'd really like to know the rest of what this charter is going to do to affect this county moving forward. And again, you know, what could be the possibilities of if we would have to get out of this charter down the road. So I'd appreciate, like they talked about earlier, maybe a little more time of looking at it from that perspective, as opposed to just moving into this one issue of who's going to decide who's going to replace somebody if they leave. You know, I just think that there's a lot more to it than that. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Sir, could you state your name for the record, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Tom Wattenville. That's Wattonville. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, we will conclude the public comment portion there and bring it back to the board for any discussion. Any members of the board that would like to speak?
I'll go first.
Okay, Chairman Cap, or excuse me.
Oh, promoted.
Not quite. Wishful thinking maybe right now. Supervisor Couch.
Trying to get out of it already. I'm in favor of us moving forward with this. I'm going to tell you why. I think there's a couple of misunderstandings that I heard. Sorry, can you hear me? Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So let me turn to County Council and ask this question. Or I'm going to say some things and I'm going to pause and you can either tell me that's correct or that's incorrect.
Okay.
Right now, if we have a death, a resignation, any type of vacancy on the Board of Supervisors, the governor of the state of California chooses the replacement, if he wants to, right?
He can, depending on the timing of the resignation and the amount of time left in the term.
So let's talk for a minute about when we had the most recent resignation. I'm trying to remember what year that was, I think 2024? And
Yes.
it was, let me lay this groundwork as well. Candidates have to file, or measures have to have their wording turned into county elections 88 days before the election, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. The resignation we got was roughly 88 plus a week. It'd be 95. It was about 97 or so days before the next election we were going to have.
That's
correct?
my recollection, yes.
Okay. As I recall, I was the chair, so I actually, at the time, received the email, as did Ms. Martinez, I think. I don't remember who else got it, but I know she was one of them because I heard from her late at night. We had a special meeting, I think on a Monday following that Thursday, and the board called a special election. I heard today that the board will never call a special election. The board called a special election on that Monday with the filing deadline on that Friday of that week. That's my recollection.
You are correct.
Okay. Well, I lived it 24 hours a day during those 10 days. So the board has a history, at least recently, of calling a special election in that case. The governor could have still appointed, I believe, someone in that case.
That's correct.
But the election was fairly soon, and he chose not to appoint anyone, whatever those reasons were. And I think this is on a case-by-case basis, but I'm gonna speculate a little bit. If the governor is put in that position, my guess is they're going to take some applications, they're going to do some interviews. It's not going to be an immediate overnight appointment. It could be if they wanted it to be, but I'm thinking that most governors would take time and make a thoughtful decision in that case. You don't need to comment on that. I won't put you in the place of commenting on governors. I'm positive that at least this current board, in any constitution of any of the four of us, would do the same thing. If we chose to appoint someone. And I think that, in my mind, others can speak to this, but in my mind, that's going to come down to how much time is probably left between the resignation and when the first guaranteed opportunity for having an election would be, that wouldn't cost us any money. If that's a short amount of time, I would prefer to just wait to have the special election and not even appoint someone. Let the voters decide. But if it was a longer period of time, let's say it's a year or longer, and based on election law, it could be maybe upwards of a year before we had an opportunity for a guaranteed election. Then I think the board has to weigh, is it more important to wait and let the voters decide this and leave the office vacant? Or is it more important to appoint someone to fill out that term until the next election opportunity, because the people deserve to have someone here casting a vote and representing their interests? As a piece of information, what happened a couple of years ago, there was an absence on our board. It wasn't a vacancy, but there was an absence. That district staff, at the time District 2 staff, continued their work and continued to help residents of the 2nd District. There just wasn't someone sitting here at the dais or going out into the field and meeting with constituents as the supervisor. But the staff did a remarkable job, in my opinion, and worked very hard to keep the continuity as best they could. So I want to compliment them on that. Adopting this charter, let me speak to this point as well. I think this is a long-term or a much longer-term project than just today and just this charter and just asking the people in June to vote in support of it. I think it's time for some engagement by citizens of Kern County to think about and educate themselves on what we can do in a charter and what we can't, and what type of county government do they want and what do they want it to look like. This is the opportunity to do that. Now, I'm old enough to remember Governor Schwarzenegger being in office, and he undertook a lot of ballot measures to make some reforms and some changes. I think he sort of hit at least one year where he put multiple items on the ballot, and they all lost, as I recall. And I think they lost, and I heard others that are more politically astute at that time, probably still are, at least speculate or say their thought was there was too much on the ballot, it overwhelmed voters, they had too many things to think about, and they just decided to vote no on everything. That's a reason that I think we start with the question, should we be a charter, should we not be, and take one element that we can take local control of and put that on our charter, and that's all. It's simple to understand. It's one question that we put before the voters. But I think there will be multiple other questions that future boards, that might include me, may put on the ballot as well. Charter counties can't do as much as charter cities can, but there are certain things that we might want to consider as charter amendments once a charter has been adopted by the voters. And with this one element, we have the framework. And then you would add, I anticipate, you would call them amendments to the charter? Is that
That's correct.
Okay. That would be discussed, debated. You could take as long as you wanted or as short a time as you wanted. The board could put them on. You could have a commission, although I can tell you that that is an unwieldy, I'll speak to the commission idea for a second. The reason I advocated doing it this way is the commission, I think they have to be elected, not appointed.
15 individuals who are elected by the people. So
And
that's
they
an
all have to
additional
fill out
election.
all the paperwork and all the forms that lots and lots of people don't want to fill out.
That is correct.
It's difficult for us to find people to serve on boards and commissions sometimes because of all the bureaucracy and the paperwork that they have to fill out. So good people don't serve. And since this was just the question of being a charter in my mind with the one element, I felt we could move forward as a board and place that on the ballot for the voters to ultimately decide. People talk about, and the comments were made today, we want the chance to vote. You're going to get the chance to vote. You're going to get the chance to vote in this charter, number one. And number two, this charter will enable the county and the County Board of Supervisors to allow you to vote for your representation sooner than you would if we don't adopt the charter. Am I correct about that?
That's correct.
Okay. So it's for those reasons, and I probably have other notes in here that I might want to hit on. Give me a second to just take a look. Did I mention this was maybe a civics exercise that we're about to undertake?
No, you did not, but thank you for
Well,
the
I
warning.
think that's more, I mean that in the vein of there may be other multiple, there may be a charter amendment. Maybe there's one in November. Maybe there's one in a year or 2 years that people start thinking about now. They have a discussion amongst themselves. They have an open discussion. It's talked about in media and social media and other media, and there's a coalescence of an idea, and the board could choose to put that on a future, as an amendment on a future ballot. That's what I mean by this could be more of a long-term civics engagement, or civics exercise. Let's be honest, was said. All right, let's. Why only one item? I mentioned this, but I'll restate it. I think it's important for us to adopt the framework of the charter to become a charter county and start with one simple item that they won't be overwhelmed with multiple items. Someone told me it's like a Christmas tree, that they wanted multiple ornaments on the tree, and I thought, all right, I'm gonna use that analogy today. You decorate your tree and want me to buy it or want me to like it, I'm gonna find 2 or 3 ornaments on there I don't really like and I don't want it. And I might reject the whole thing because I don't like one piece of it or one or 2 elements of it. So I think it's important to take these things one at a time, maybe 2 at the most, and let people really think about what we're doing here and not overwhelm them with multiple items that they have to consider, which will only cause people not to, or give them a reason not to vote for it. Let them decide individually on individual amendments, I think is a much better approach to this civics exercise or engagement that I'm calling. Those are my comments. I'm not going to make a motion yet because I want to hear from my colleagues, but that's pretty much where I stand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Flores?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Supervisor Couch, and thank you for your excellent memory of all the things that transpired. Very impressive. Okay, so thank you everyone for coming out. There was a lot of input. We appreciate that. There's actually a lot to dissect here. One, Dave, Supervisor Couch, I agree with you. Thank you for clarifying this going to elections question, which is fundamental that our people of Kern County have a vote. Multiple speakers seem to think that that would be circumvented when in fact it's not circumvented, it's withheld, it's sustained, and it can even move faster. And I think we've heard that with Chairman Peters, we heard that with County Council, we heard that with Supervisor Couch, you're hearing it with me again. So I want to make that another reassurance that people will vote, and people can even vote faster under this prospective charter approach. For some reason, people, either didn't get it or got it. But I want to make that clear one more time. Two, on Sacramento, those were great comments. Do we want Sacramento involved when they're out of touch? Do they really have a pulse on what's best interest in Kern County? Or does Kern County have a pulse on what's in the best interest of Kern County? One speaker, Mr. Beardsley, who I respect, and I've seen you at events working with our youth, and I respect your comments, but one does need correction with, our board was cast with the responsibility of public health cuts, when in fact those cuts came from Sacramento itself. $12 million came from Sacramento, came from federal government. They were the source of those cuts. We did not want to cut those positions. I didn't want to cut those services. Also, Mr. Sanders had an excellent commentary on the AG and some of the events that transpired. And so I'm going to ask County Council to talk about some other provisions that a charter county might be able to make. You know, this is a exercise that our board does not engage in frequently. This is a once in a blue moon opportunity. And so I want to balance Supervisor Couch's concerns and input, which I understand. I don't want to conflate it and make it too difficult. I don't want to overwhelm the voter. At the same time, I want to balance this once in a while opportunity to make the charter as best as it can be with not overly adding to it, but making it the right balance, the right fit. You know, we went through an exercise last year through Elections Department, and we were saddled with the old structure that our board didn't control, but our board got all the comments, and they wanted us to change, and we couldn't make the changes without legislation from Sacramento. It required a bill. We had to run a bill. It took years to do. We finally got the approval to restructure it and appoint an elections official full-time that's dedicated to elections. And that's another thing that a charter would have enabled us to do. One of the benefits of streamlining and making organizational changes, and there's a lot of changes. We could change procurement. We could do more to help our cities with a county arrangement. There's so many things, and that would probably require a dual track approach because it's complex. It takes time to study. It takes time to get input. So for me, I also welcome a long-term approach to get the good governance components right without necessarily saddling it at this juncture. But there's one that is important, and I think there's one that the public would understand, and there's one that the public would embrace. And going back to Mr. Sanders, he touched upon our former supervisor. This board was strapped for five months without an elected representative, and we were in enormous pressure to do something. People wanted action. People demanded action, and we were powerless. We were powerless to do anything. The people of District 2 didn't have a voice, despite the best efforts of the office and the CEO to represent that. But I want to touch upon what some of the other counties do, i.e. San Diego, Los Angeles, Alameda, others, that would give this board and would give this charter additional strengths in certain circumstances. Madam Council, would you talk about San Diego specifically and Los Angeles and some of the easy to understand language that I think is a common sense approach that I think people would embrace and that people deserve and expect?
Supervisor Flores, through the chair, yes. And again, this is not to say that this would have exactly applied to that particular situation.
No, prospectively, or
right.
It might have helped also, I don't know.
Correct. But one of the ones, you know, as you and I discussed is, and I see it throughout several charters, and I'm going to read one that's just simply put. There's some that are a little more expansive, and we can add language to make some clarifications, but this one I think is just simple to understand. And this is from the County of San Diego's charter. It says the board may suspend from office at its discretion an officer, and they define officer as an elected or appointed official who has been indicted for official misconduct, an offense involving moral turpitude, or an infamous crime. The board shall fill the vacancy until final legal action is determined. And there are numerous variations on that same clause throughout the different ones. Some of them give like an opportunity. This one does not. It's simply just what I read. There's others that give a chance for them to be heard as long as it doesn't interfere with a criminal investigation. So there's different ways to do that, but I believe that's what you're referring to.
Yes, thank you for that. That's what I'm referring to. And so I'm good. I'm good with item, standalone one item appointment, but I wanted to give my colleagues an opportunity and the public an opportunity to have an additional item that strengthens the charter, that controls for worst-case scenarios, and that allows for our board to take action and be nimble and navigate complexities that come, unfortunately, do come, and they may come in the future. So thank you. That's all I have at this time. And I'd be interested in hearing my colleagues' comments. And that's not a motion, that's just discussion.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Flores. Supervisor Parlier.
Well, I've had, I guess, two unfortunate experiences regarding to filling vacancies. So when I was on the Bakersfield City Council, which is a charter city, Jeff Tack was voted in for a new 4-year term. And shortly after he was sworn in, he died. The council, at its wisdom, because there was discussion about an appointment, Bakersfield City Charter allows for an appointment of a vacancy. But in discussion, again, with the wisdom of the council, we decided that it needed to go to the voters. It was a full term, and the voters needed to decide who they wanted as their representative. And they voted in Bruce Freeman, who served honorably for 2 terms. Now I'm filling essentially the vacancy or another year of vacancy of my predecessor involved in issues. I will say David articulated it very well as far as the process that took place. The governor could have appointed during that vacancy period. For whatever reason, he decided not to. But really up until the point of the election, the governor could have appointed somebody for that interim period. Getting to Jeff's point, starting with the register of voters and that process of breaking it out so we can have a standalone position for that, the governor could have decided not to sign that legislation. And if he did that, we'd kind of be stuck right now, and I think we'd be having the same discussion that we are heading towards a charter county to allow that. Fortunately, the governor decided to sign that, and we're in that process. I think the charter county does give us some flexibilities, but I like what David had to say regarding simplicity. Bakersfield, when their charter came into effect, let's say 100 years ago, the founders basically of Bakersfield threw everything in a kitchen sink in their charter. And even now, the city of Bakersfield has a problem navigating part of that. And one of those is department heads. So most department heads are civil service. So a new city manager comes on and wants to change anything. Let's say somebody's not effective as a department head. You basically have to take that person and, I don't know, put them out at solid waste, counting trash cans for $200,000 a year, because you can't get rid of them. They're civil service. So I don't want to see us get in that sort of position either. I think that we need to take baby steps. I think this is a proper step. The board, I think in its discretion, would do a wise assessment, like David said. They were wise in my vacancy, or the predecessor's vacancy that opened a position for me. It went out for election, and I ran against 6 candidates, and fortunately, District 2 voted me in. But that was a clear indication of the board making a decision for voters to make that wise decision. So I'm in line with well, it's not a motion yet, In fact, I'll make the motion. I'm in line with the recommendation that we proceed. But again, it's baby steps as we go forward. I think we need to have considerable conversation about if we're going to do anything in the future. But if there is some sort of unfortunate vacancy, I think we need to look at that. Also, I do like Jeff's idea that, and maybe that should be part of it too, that if somebody is adjudicated for a felony or a crime of moral turpitude, that this board should have the ability to, maybe do some sort of action on that person too. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Parlier. Supervisor Perez.
Well, you just made that very easy for me, Supervisor Parlier, because I've had experiences with the Kern County District Attorney's Office that are quite harrowing and terrifying, frankly. The manner in which that office has conducted criminal charges, has conducted investigations, warrantless raids, et cetera, that is, to me, very problematic to give such wide-ranging opportunity to disparage a member of the Board of Supervisors. And because I've been on the receiving end of that, I think that's really problematic. So,
And that wasn't part of my motion either. So.
Okay, so can you clarify your motion?
The motion is, as written, what David said, staff recommendation. That's my motion.
Staff's recommendation currently is to is to approve and adopt resolution as written on the agenda.
Oh, okay, excellent. Okay, Supervisor Couch, are you okay with that? I mean, is that where your position is? Okay, very good. Then I'm going to make some statements that are really important and near and dear to my heart about this subject. There's a whole lot of reasons that I truly, truly hate partisan politics and hate them being drug into this chambers because, unfortunately, it really muddles the water on how we conduct ourselves in a nonpartisan fashion in this office and why it is so important that what we do be separate and independent of partisan ideology. And we have seen that play out in Kern County in some really problematic ways in just the 14 years that I have been a supervisor. Dave and I are the longest standing supervisors in Kern. We're senior on this board, and we've seen a lot of changes to Kern County, its budget, and its future based on what I believe is incredibly and almost entirely partisan ideology out of Sacramento. And I'm the lone Democrat on this board. I've been the lone Democrat on this board for 14 years. I'm proud to be a Democrat. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'll die a Democrat. My mother made sure of that as a very young girl to me. She was present when Robert Kennedy came into Delano and broke bread with Cesar Chavez in Delano as a beautiful humanitarian effort that occurred there for justice and for the goodness of Kern County. And she was 17 years old there. Her heart and mind was forever grafted into Americana at that moment. And while she was a very cynical teenager at that time. His presence here, coming down from on high, if you will, really solidified her love of the flag. She joined the U.S. Army the next year, cared for amputees as they returned from war, and that really changed her forever. And she's not with us anymore, but if I ever was not a Democrat, I think I'd hear from her in some form or another, I promise you that. With that said, I'm proud that as a Democrat here, I've had great opportunity to coalesce around many things that are good for Kern County. I've also been, as you know, on the minority end of many 4-1 votes. Not one of them was ever easy, I assure you that, because when we leave this dais, we go into closed session, we have to garner support on a number of things that we care about and love very deeply. And it is difficult to take those votes, but I think it's important to vote our conscience and to do what we believe is right. In my time here, I have been saddened, brokenhearted, and frankly devastated by what I see come out of Sacramento towards Kern County. It is irrational, it is nonsensical, and I love my friend Tom, who was up earlier, Wattenville, one of my heroes in this community. He said very distinctly, what is in Kern County's best economic future? That's important to him. I know how he thinks. He's an incredibly reasonable, rational, brilliant person. And when I think about what is in the best interest of Kern County economically moving forward, I cannot, in good conscience and in good faith, trust the ideology of Sacramento to dominate, to govern, to influence what happens in Kern County. And that's hard for me to say publicly because I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, I assure you that. But it's what I believe in my heart to be true. It's what I have devoted my life to in Kern County, is being fair and nonpartisan and doing what I believe is sincerely and honestly in the best interest of Kern County. And I'm saddened that my party has taken the perspective that they have towards Kern County, our industries, and our future, because they have been detrimental to our well-being. They have hurt Kern County. They continue to hurt Kern County. Our budgets, our ability to provide services in Kern County, they have harmed us in ways that feel irreparable in this moment. And that's hard for me. As a proud Democrat, that's hard for me. I am not proud of that action. I don't believe it's rational. I don't believe it's based in anything real. I believe it's almost entirely ideological. And because of that, because of those reasons, because of what I have seen, and not because of any loyalty to any party or any partisan ideology, because of what I have actually seen play out in Kern County from the impacts to us, I cannot trust their perspective about what's best for Kern County. And that's sad for me, and I'm sorry to say that. I sincerely am. So with that said, I support this effort as put forth by Supervisor Couch to begin thinking about ways in which we cleverly create our local control here and do that in a way that honors the voter, honors the taxpayer, and honors the future and legacy of Kern County, who we are, how we make our money, how we build careers, how we hold our head up as people that are hardworking, blue-collar, patriotic, people. I love Kern County. I think we're wonderful people. And while we have really distinct differences and passionate disagreements here on this board, I'm proud that we can do that with civility and that we can do that in honor of Kern County and in protecting what is so vital to the future of Kern County here, which is first and foremost our industries. With that said, I support this effort to place the singular issue before the voters so the voters can decide what Kern County looks like in the future, of who gets to dominate what happens here economically, financially for Kern County. And so I appreciate Supervisor Couch you bringing this matter forward and allowing the opportunity for the voters of Kern County to decide what the next steps look like for Kern County. I believe in Kern County. We feed, fuel, defend the nation. We're very proud to do that. We're a community of veterans. We're a community that's changing, of course. We're remarkably diverse in our expression of faith and our expression of culture. We're changing. We're a changing community like much of the country. But I think our legacy and history here is worth defending, protecting, and fighting like hell for. So I submit that to you, and I support staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. I have always, from the first moment I got into politics, said that I'm about local control and local accountability, and I think this is the definition of that. There are a few things that my colleagues have brought up. Supervisor Flores brought up some potential future suggestions. I know Supervisor Parley had mentioned some of the challenges I've seen at the city of Bakersfield, and particularly regarding civil service, which is actually something that has been brought up to me and something that I have been looking into. And I think that maybe that's something that we should look at moving forward in the future, is finding ways to ensure better accountability and streamline performance. And I think that's something that would be well served by being considered in this. But I think first things first, we can continue working on these issues. But again, this focuses on putting that issue before the voters of maintaining that local control and accountability. So I know this idea of a charter county has been discussed multiple times over the years, even in the shorter time that I've been here. And so it's good that we're finally getting this out in front of the voters, and I think this is going to be something that the community is well served by. So I support this as well. The recommended action is to approve and adopt resolution, and I believe Supervisor Parlier made the motion to that effect. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. Okay, having no further items to consider in open session, I will entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session to consider items 38 and 39 under the County Administrative Office and item 40 under County Council.
Motion.
Okay, without objection, we are adjourned in honor of Irma Carson.